Hogstye.
All right, Washington comes away with a win versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We've kind of predicted it. It was a little more low-scoring than I think we thought, Steve. But a win is a win is a win. Though this one did have some ugly moments in it. Not for us so much as for Cincinnati. But let's get into this game. It's Alex with you. Steve is with me. Jamal is off because it's his birthday this weekend. So he's like doing birthday things. And
I predicted a loss, by the way, so I didn't predict it at all.
Oh,
I predicted a high-scoring loss, so I totally blew it.
Oh, I predicted a high-scoring win. We both were wrong about the high scoring. It was low-scoring. Although, mostly at the fault of kickers, it seems, because neither, I think, what is that, 4 missed kicks in this one game?
Yeah, it was 3 on the Bengals kicker and 1 on Hopkins.
Right. I don't think I can't remember the last time I've seen a kicker put 2 off the uprights in one game, like the Bengals.
I don't think he could do that if he was aiming for it.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what they need to do. They need to put another post down the middle, and you get 2 points if you hit it or something.
Or an extra point. Yeah, a 4 points or something.
Yeah, something little fun like that. Because no one would ever hit it. It would be impossible. All right, let's get into this game. I want to talk about some of those big plays that happened, because this was a game that had some big moments in it. There was the Joe Burrow injury, which I think we'll probably start off with.
Okay.
But then also that crazy Chase Young forced fumble on Burrow that came out, went in, came out. It was a ping pong ball or something. But I want to talk about those two things. But let's start with that ugly injury on Burrow. Just freak accident, football play kind of thing.
You're just determined to send my OCD into craziness by not doing stats, you realize.
Okay, you want to do stats? Go do stats.
I have to.
Do stats.
Okay. Alex Smith, 17 of 25, 166 yards passing, quarterback rating of 83, so not that good. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Antonio Gibson, 16 for 94 on the ground. J.D. McKissick, 16 for 43 on the ground. As a team, they were 34 of 164, which, if I'm not mistaken, is their best performance of the year.
It might be.
Terry McLaurin, 5 for 84. He was the leading receiver for Washington. J.D. McKissick had 3 receptions, 26 yards. Cam Sims, 2 for 20. Steven Sims, 3 for 13. Antonio Gibson, 1 for 10 receptions. Isaiah Wright, 1 for 7. Logan Thomas, 2 for 6. Cincinnati, together, both quarterbacks, 25 for 44, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. When Burrow went down, he was 22 for 34, 203 yards. Finley was only 3 for 10, 30 yards, 1 interception. And then running-wise, Samaje Perine was 5 for 19, because everybody was wondering about that, I'm sure. Giovanni Bernard was only 9 for 18. As a team, they were 18 for 70. And receiving, Tyler Boyd, 9 for 85. A.J. Green, 4 for 41. And T. Higgins was 3 for 26. And in terms of the sacks by Washington, it was Ryan Kerrigan 1, Montez Sweat 1, Moreland and Smith-Williams had a half each. And am I missing one? Yes, Tim Settle had 1.
Right.
And that is sacks. And that is, and the leading tackler was Cameron Curl for 9.
Settle with a sneaky 4th sack on the season, by the way. I didn't realize he was up to 4.
And he hadn't played that much either.
Yeah. He's the 4th interior lineman, so that's a good year for him. By the way, I double-checked. Technically, our second best rushing day, Steve. Dallas.
Oh, okay.
We put 200 yards, or 208 yards up on Dallas.
You're right. That's right. Yeah.
I double-checked. We can get access to quick stats these days thanks to, Pro Football Reference. So.
And I'd like to point out, of course, that, this is the second worst run defense in the league behind Dallas. So They did put it on the 2 terrible run defenses they faced so far.
Yeah, and we'll face one next week, but we won't talk about that right now because this is about this game. All right, let's talk about that ugly injury to Burrow. Steve, I know you're not on social media, but one thing I'm happy to see with our social media and the 2,000-plus people that we follow or whatever it is, everyone across the board as far as Redskins or Washington football team fans just can't, kind of sympathetic with Cincinnati here. Burrow's definitely done for the year. I mean, that was a bad knee injury he got there.
Nobody was cheering the hit.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah. None of that. You might see that if it was a division rival, but we're not going to do that versus Cincinnati.
no.
And just an ugly accident. You and I have both gone back and rewatched it just to make sure. It was John Allen who kind of got thrown into his kneecap by the left guard or left tackle. You said it's a guard. I think it's a tackle.
I thought it was the tackle because the guard went high and around. So.
Yeah. But they threw him into the knee just as Montez Sweat was hitting him, kind of in the midsection.
Yeah, we kind of freeze framed it as best we could on NFL Game Pass, and really blurry to see. But it was definitely a combination of Allen
and Sweat
falling high, low, and Sweat going high, and his knee went one way and his leg went the other. It was definitely as ugly as it seemed. And we talked before the show, Alex. I don't know why the network won't show a replay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a crime scene, for God's sakes. Show us what happened.
Well, and as I kind of pointed out, when RG3 got his really bad knee injuries, his rookie year, both of them.
We saw 18 different replays.
Yeah, we saw 18 would have been the low number. I would say I would say you could have flipped the 8 and the 1, and that's about how many replays they did of that.
Right.
Yeah, and when Alex Smith had his awful leg injury, how many replays of that did we see? It was brutal.
Right.
And that was the worst injury I've ever seen. Still, I'm too young to remember Joe Theismann, but that Alex
Joe
Smith
Theismann's was the worst I've ever seen. I think because that was just it. Yeah, that's the one that really stuck out was Theismann with me. But Alex Smith would have been a close second.
Alex Smith is up there, and there was one with the Eagles. I think it was Coy Detmer. I remember when I was living in Philly.
I don't remember that one.
He did this thing where his leg starts twitching involuntarily. That one was pretty awful.
Brutal, huh?
Yeah. But leg injuries are the worst, man. Like when it comes to quarterbacks, they can look really graphic. I understand that.
It's a brutal game. I mean, look, Joe Burrow was putting it to Washington.
Right.
And he really was. And I think Joe Burrow is as advertised. I was very impressed with him. His team sucks. There's no doubt. His offensive line isn't that good.
Defense is okay, not great.
I wasn't impressed with their front seven at all.
Mm-hmm.
Their corners played well, I thought. But their defensive front seven I thought was not good. But
right.
Burrow is the real deal. I just hope he can come back next year. We don't know the exact extent of it. I'm assuming he has torn ligaments, probably, obviously. But once that happened, the game was kind of over because it's like the Bengals just deflated. They didn't play well at all after he went out.
Well, that's because Ryan Finley, not
just
the
Finley,
same
though.
person.
No, he's not. But I just thought the whole team kind of lacked energy after that.
I mean, you know as well as I do, something like that happens, and it's just going to mess up your whole psychology up for the whole game. We've
especially,
seen that before.
I mean, a guy like Burrow, who's played far better than anybody had the right to expect a rookie to do. It's the Bengals, they're always horrible.
Sure.
And they were horrible this year, but they had a bright future with Burrow, and now that's in question,
Right. Something like this happens to, a receiver, an offensive lineman. It's not going to mess up your whole game plan necessarily. You're going to have to make some changes, but,
Because listen, I mean, if he's got a torn ACL, which
right.
I'm assuming he does, but we don't know that. If he does have a torn ACL, it's only 10 months till September 2021, so he may not, I would say probably won't be back for game one.
Sure. Well, I mean, how long?
Unless he's just a remarkable healer,
Well, and let's remember he is 22 or 21, so
yeah, he'll definitely heal faster.
He'll heal faster than some guys, but look, we saw it with Alex Smith, man. Like these leg injuries, if they go wrong, it takes more than a year.
Well, RG tried to. This exact thing happened to RG tried to come back way too soon when in 2013,
right?
After his leg injury, and
in hindsight, you kind of wish he had sat out that whole season and until he was fully healthy or something.
Well, at least put him on the PUP list or something, and halfway through and kind of reevaluate him. Yeah, he wasn't ready, and that was a mistake. And I don't want to relive that. Why are we But anyway, in terms of Cincinnati, I mean, it was sort of a tale of two halves a little bit, I thought, this
Definitely.
game. And if it weren't for a horrible place kicker for Cincinnati and the weird fumble play, which we're going to get to here, Cincinnati could have been up big,
They put They left about 9 points on the field by my count in the first half. They were up by 9. They should have been up 18, or they were up 9-7. They should have been up 18-7.
Well, the two missed kicks in the first half was 4 points by itself.
6.
Directly.
Yeah.
Well, that was in the second half, though. The second missed kick, was it not?
Oh, right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So you give them 4 points in the first half, and that weird play, which, look, what we're talking about is the Chase Young hit on Burrow as he was headed towards the goal line. So what happened was Chase Young hits him. Burrow fumbles the ball. The ball goes into the end zone. Cameron Curl scoops it up, and
looks like he's trying to run out with it. Yes.
Yeah, which was dumb, but I get the instinct. And the question was, did Curl actually have possession of the ball? Because if he did, he fumbled it back into the end zone,
and then
it would
safety.
It would have been a safety.
Right.
Yeah, and so fortunately the refs ended up ruling that Curl never did have possession of it, meaning that it wasn't a safety and it wasn't a fumble, and it wasn't a safety. So that was a ridiculous play. I've never seen anything that nuts.
It was a ridiculous play in how it was first called, which was that it was a safety. And Ron Rivera had the option of take the holding call, and Cincinnati gets it back at their 10 on 4th down. Or you take the safety and you kick it, but you're only up 7-2 that point. So your options were take 7-2, hope Cincinnati plays it safe, and you take it 7-3, and you get the ball back. Or maybe Cincinnati goes for it and they either score or they don't, and then you're either tied or you're up 7. Like the quick math he had to do in his head there, like, all right, take the penalty, and then they luckily reversed everything because of the replay. But that was a weird situation right there. I want to talk about one thing that not enough people were given credit for. You know who really made that play? As much as we all want to say Chase Young, Troy Apke came over from the safety spot, stops Burrow by getting like a little chip hit on him, which slowed him down, made him have to readjust, and then Young was able to get that big hit that caused the fumble. But if not for Troy Apke, that's a touchdown for Burrow.
Troy, he's everybody's favorite punching bag, but
Sure.
He didn't play badly today. There were no huge gaffes by Troy Apke.
He let off one big pass, I think.
I mean, in Troy Apke's world, that's a success, though.
Right. He also had that one near interception that caused a 4th down.
He should have had that. It hit him right in the hands. Definitely should have had that.
He should have.
There's a reason why he's a safety, not a receiver.
But you know what? It ended up being that was a 3rd down play. You know what? If you don't make the pick, you're getting the ball back. So
right.
It's not the end of the world, but
it was a no-sum thing, basically.
Right. People are mad about that, but they punted it the next play. Don't be mad about a punt.
Right.
Yeah, but I really want to say on that one play, as much as everyone's going to focus on Chase Young and all that and the recovery, Apke is the one who saved the touchdown. So
I mean, look, at the end of the day, Chase didn't get home repeatedly. I know we all root for him, and he's certainly not a disappointment or anything like that. He's living up to his billing, but he's not overwhelming me, compared to his draft status. I mean, he got some good pressures today. He also had a couple negative plays. I thought it was really, when things got out of when the defensive line really took control was when Burrow went out. But, before that, they got some pressure on the quarterback, but they did not get home.
Well,
repeatedly.
And one thing I think that needs to start to be pointed out is, and I think this is a coaching issue, why are we not bringing pressure early on in games, period? Like, to begin with, the first quarter and a half, I don't think they ever rushed more than 4 people. They never were blitzing. They were never sending guys off the edge. Like, it was all very standard rush 4, see if they can get to them, and they never are. And again, I don't know what it feels like they're sleepwalking through the first quarter on defense every game now. Like, you don't feel like anyone's going full speed.
They're not that good. Yeah. They're not good enough to play a full game. I mean, this number one, and passing yardage thing is a mirage.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, we've said that before. It's you've played either bad teams or you've played running quarterbacks, so you're going to look better there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, yes, the defense. I applaud the defensive line for taking control of this game in the second half when they had to. And the Burrow unfortunate injury aside, by the end of this game they were sticking it to the Bengals, and that's exactly what we need to see. But as you pointed out, they can't do it in the first half. They've yet to play a complete game in this entire season.
No, they're very good in the second half. I don't know what
Sometimes
they're doing in the second half in the locker room, but they come out ripping and roaring the second half of the last, 3 or 4 games now.
I just think they're not that good.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think they're. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's do you need to be rotating more guys in, or I don't know what's going on exactly. I'm not a coach and I'm not a defensive minded person, but something's clearly off with how they start every game now.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I just think these players are not consistent enough in their assignments, and they're just not good enough to play at that level for 4 quarters. It's as
No.
simple as that, I think.
No. Well, I would agree with you, except for the fact that it's the first quarter that they're having the problem. It's like they're half-assing it in the first quarter, and then they get better as the game goes on. You know.
Well, and today it was a little bit of a unique situation too,
Sure.
by the way, just
Sure.
because of the nature of what happened in the game and stuff.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, also, again, the Bengals just aren't that good.
No.
The
No. No.
Bengals were
Well,
2-7 for a reason,
all our wins have come against bad teams.
or 2-6 or whatever they
Yeah.
were. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're a bad team. But I mean, to Washington's credit, you know, they've beaten two bad. Their wins are against, they're beating some bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
So at least they're not losing to teams that they shouldn't lose to.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the rest of the defense at this point.
Okay,
Darby had a great game.
he
I know
did.
he struggled really in the first couple games this season, but of late it feels like he's kind of figured things out.
Yeah,
Um,
look, Darby had some great pass. I think he had 4 pass credits for four
mhm.
passes defended today. He I thought he was the star of the secondary
Yeah, he was.
today. And the Bengals have some pretty good receivers. And
Hmm.
we talked about in the game preview, and he made plays. Ronald Darby made plays. What we didn't see today, which seen in every single game so far, is mix up in zone coverages.
Hmm.
They did not do that today, and the result was they didn't give up a big play. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah, they gave up a couple mid-sized chunks, but nothing backbreaking.
Yeah, I mean it's football. It's going to happen. But
Right.
what they didn't
Right.
do is give up 55-yard touchdowns like they've done repeatedly over and over and over
Hmm.
and over again this
Hmm.
year. And usually what happens is there's a mix-up between the corner and the safety, and that's why it's a touchdown. And they didn't do that today. So I applaud the secondary for that. I don't know if they figured it out, if it was just because it was the Bengals or what, but I was glad to see it.
I mean, I feel like we've started to see them go this direction. I think it's them figuring out what Del Rio's kind of looking for. I mean,
Hopefully.
we always see this with a new coaching staff that first half of the season versus the second half of the season are a little different like that. If things are going right, guys start understanding what the coaching staff is trying to do.
Well,
Um,
especially with no the
oh
preseason at
yeah,
all.
that it makes it even. I would think that would push it back a little more, frankly. That kind of learning curve. But one thing you mentioned, Darby had 4 pass breakups. One of the little tidbits that the PR team for the Washington football team tweeted out was they sent out a message that when he made his 3rd pass breakup, no one from Washington's had 3 in a game since Josh Wilson in 2011. So
A 4 is a lot for one game. Just if everybody doesn't realize this,
yeah,
what the NFL calls a pass defense
right.
is, and when I'm gonna get this is just me talking here, not an official definition, but it's when the defensive back makes an active play to prevent the catch.
Right.
That's what a pass
If you
defense is.
stick your hand in the air and you hit the ball and the receiver doesn't get it because of that,
Right.
that's a pass. And
And
those
so
are
they're far
very
more.
rare. It's
Yeah, they're far more rare than you might think, and 4
right.
is a lot for one game.
Right. I mean, I think old timers might be like, well, back in the '70s, you'd have 4 a game all the time because guys played more physical. There was a different game, but
Yeah.
even then, it was rare. Really, like it was more you would hit the receiver and he would drop it.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like it's sort of along lines of a sack in terms of rarity.
Right, it really is. So him
Yeah.
getting 4 in one game, and like I said, Josh Wilson was the last guy to even get to 3, and that's 9 years ago. Um,
Um,
so yeah,
I'd also
he had
like
a
to
great
applaud
day.
Washington's run defense. They didn't. Giovanni Bernard can play. I mean, nobody was afraid of Samaje Perine, but Giovanni Bernard seems like he's been around forever.
He
He's
has.
a
It
talented
feels like,
back,
yeah.
and they didn't let him. They didn't let him get any significant yardage today. So all credit to the defensive front in that regard as well.
And one reverse credit in regards to Giovanni Bernard. Somebody learned to cover running back underneath. Like I feel like Cincinnati had 4 or 5 passes to him where he was just wide open.
Well, that Joe Burrow was seeing the field properly because those passes were open
Yeah.
consistently throughout the entire first half and then up until Burrow went out.
And
I mean,
that
that was the negative part of it, was
right.
what Washington did not do was that.
And I know it's scheme. Like I can tell just from what I saw that it was you're playing these weirdly soft zones where you got, I don't know, a linebacker in a corner on one side with 3 receivers, and then the running back comes out and you're 2 on 4. Like it doesn't make any sense. Of course, the running back's getting open at that point.
Well, I mean, but on these crossing routes, these shallow crossers, the linebacker needs to be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And our
that's
linebackers
a different story.
are not good.
No.
To be gentle about it.
And there was one play early on where the linebacker I think got caught in this really bad pick play. I think it was a linebacker by the backup tight end.
Yeah.
He gets like an 18-yard catch because I don't know how that didn't get called. Like that was the most obvious pick play in open space that I think
it looked like a rugby play.
Yeah, it really did. It was an NBA style pick. Like the guy was like basically standing there with his arms by his sides.
But all the same, the backer, who was inside, I think it was a linebacker, did not react.
No.
Well enough,
Yeah.
Which is a good example of what the linebackers do not do.
Right.
At least.
You're absolutely right. But overall, again, we had 9 points we allowed there, so not a terrible day for the defense.
It's an outstanding day. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's an outstanding day for the defense. It's their best overall defensive performance in the entire season.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
well, there's no I guess. I mean, they haven't held another team to 9 points, I believe. Even Dallas was more than that, was it not?
Yeah, you're right. Dallas was more than that, I believe.
Dallas was no, I was wrong. No, Dallas had 3 points, so that was the best. But this is
okay.
It's the only other game besides Dallas when they've actually stopped a defense,
mm-hmm.
An offense.
I think this is the first NFC East win against a AFC North team all year. So...
Yeah, the broadcast pointed out there was the AFC North was 7-0 against NFC East before today.
Right. So we made it 7-1. Good for us.
And as we're recording this, the Eagles are still locked into a battle with the Browns, and I don't know what's become of that game yet because we're recording.
Really? Yeah. I kind of wanted to sit there and watch the rest of the Baltimore Titans game, but
the Browns won the game, by the way.
Okay. All right. So 8-1 favoring the NFC North or AFC North.
Yeah. AFC North.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the offense real quick. It felt like they finally started to figure it out in, what was it, the second drive, where it was hit Gibson, hit Terry, hit Gibson, hit Terry, and get into scoring position and get 7 points.
Here's what they did well.
Yeah.
I think Scott Turner's sort of figuring out what his run game can do well. What they did a lot today was a lot of misdirection plays.
Right.
They'd have the receiver come on a jet sweep. There's people going in opposite directions. It was the misdirection coupled with the handoff to the edge. That's what they did well today. They're not good in the interior. They're just not.
Right.
But they kind of figured out, hey, this is what works at least against the Bengals' pretty soft, unimpressive defensive line. That is what worked. They ran this misdirection play over and over and over again, and with success for the first time this year outside of Dallas. Success, and that's if they had just pounded the A gap, it wouldn't have been 34 runs for 164 yards.
No, it didn't. Some of it does make sense, some of it doesn't. It seems like they figured out what worked on that one scoring drive in the first half, and then they got away from it again, which made no sense.
A little bit.
That's where it didn't make sense to me. It's like, all right, that these two guys are your core guys, and you kind of have to play the edges. Yet then you go back to running it up the middle, or dump off passes again up the middle mostly, and it's not working. And at one point, at the end of the half, they were, outscored. The clock was 2-1 in Cincinnati's favor. Like, I have some major gripes with the fact that Scott Turner, yeah, he does seem to figure it out at times, and then he gets away with it. And I'm sorry, like, a good offensive coordinator should know, if you find something that works, just keep doing it until they can shut it down.
I don't think you can run these misdirection as your sole source of a rushing attack, though. Like you could be a power gap team forever
Sure.
if you were good enough at it. If you had Earl Campbell back there or Jim Brown back there, you could do that. But I don't think you can make a living doing what they did today all the time, because that's something that defenses will see on film and key on it. They work today, and they need to keep doing it because, like I said, they kind of figured out that it works. But I don't think you're going to see 25 handoffs like that.
I don't
I
know
don't
if
think you can.
I don't think you can do that many handoffs, but I think there's other things that work in that same vein, like screen passes and other stuff that gets the ball on the edge quickly and can get you some easy yards. And I don't think they go to that stuff enough when they know the edge is the weak spot.
Yeah, well, and McKissick only had 4 targets in the passing game today,
Right.
which is low for him for this offense.
Now I know you said, what was his numbers altogether? It's like 120 something yards combined.
Well, McKissick,
Yeah.
he had 6 for 43 rushing and then 3 for 26 receiving, so that is 69
Oh,
yards.
69. Just
Yeah.
I added
Well,
up.
it was Gibson that did better. Gibson 94 yards rushing, and then he had the one reception for 10 yards. So Gibson's over 100 combined
Okay, so
yards.
together they were around 160 or 170, I guess.
170, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you want to see from the two of them. Frankly, is
Right.
That ballpark number combined with running and receiving.
I just don't think that style is going to work against better defenses.
Oh no, but I
All
don't
the time.
think
It'll be successful in spurts, but
I don't
you
think
can't.
that style is going to be successful. As a sole offense, you could,
No.
if you were building a complete offense and that was one of maybe 3 things that you did well, that's great. That's
Right.
very, very effective. But then you need to have a power running game or a deep pass game or something to go along with it.
Well, yeah, and again, remember, the Bengals front seven was, I thought, really bad.
Right.
They're just not good.
Their strength, like you said, is their secondary.
Right.
And even Pittsburgh had trouble against that secondary for good chunks of their game.
Their corners can,
Yeah.
their corners play a lot of man.
And they play tight.
Washington seems to never play man, or not never, but not very
Rarely.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, rarely. Whereas Cincinnati can do that. I was not prepared for their corners to be that good.
I kind of was, because, like I said, watching some of their film from last week and the week before, I noticed they play good tight coverage,
Right.
Which is rare now. No NFL teams seem to do that. It feels like.
By the way,
yeah.
you want to take a stab at Tressway's punt yardage today?
Okay, I know he had 3 really good ones. I'm trying to think what else. I'm gonna say 250.
You were right at it. It was 252.
Dang, I'm good.
You were so good.
Because I'm like, all right, I remember that one where he got downed at the 1, then he had 2 that were downed at the 10. I'm like, just doing the
He had a really good day.
He
Yeah, that's
did.
why I brought it up. He had
Yeah.
put Tressway, MVP Way had a really good day today.
Right. Which, by the way, we just need a road in Ashburn named MVP Way. For him.
That's great.
Yeah.
MVP Way.
Yeah. And
I'm not being facetious about it either. He's the best player on the team.
I've said before he might be the best punter in the NFL for the past 5 years.
I think it's only because he's on a horrible team that he hasn't been a first team All-Pro.
Yeah. Absolutely. 2 years ago he did something that I nerded out and said stats wise has never been done, but no one paid attention because we were awful. And then he's been good the last 2 years after that. So, but yeah, 252. You said that sounds right. Cincinnati, bad special teams. I talked about that beforehand. I was not ready for them to miss that many field goals.
Yeah, he missed. Randy Bullock is his name. He went 1 for 3 on field goals, and then he missed an extra point as well.
I feel like we need to get one of his
4 kicks. He missed 3. He missed 3 out of 4 kicks.
I feel like we need to get one of his jerseys though, and just send it to our buddy Mark, because There's not that many Bullocks out there in the NFL.
That's true. Yeah, I was thinking, what are you talking about? Oh, Bullock.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that really was Mark out there, and that's why he missed so many kicks.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
Mark
they
isn't a
had a
kicker.
bunch of Redskins writers on the Bengals team. They had Finley, they had Bullock,
It was really Mark Bullock kicking out
and
there,
JP
not
Finley.
Randy Bullock.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
explain a lot. Although he made a 53-yarder, so that'd be
yeah.
impressive for
I don't know
a
if Mark could kick a
non-pro athlete
53
like
yarder.
Mark.
Although Mark's from the UK, so I'm sure he's played some soccer. He could probably kick a ball.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously he can because he made a 53-yarder. Congrats, Mark, on the one.
All right, so let's get to game balls here. I feel like we didn't talk enough about the offense, but
No, we didn't. So yeah, okay. Look, I do want to mention offense
what
more.
what do you want to focus on here?
Well, number one, Cam Sims has taken charge of the Z position. He's made Dontrell. I realized Dontrell Inman was inactive today for injury reasons,
But
but
he was.
he's almost
We
made,
always knew he was just a warm body until somebody else stepped up.
Yeah, Sims has made Inman irrelevant. I think.
Yeah.
I think he's your starting Z going forward. He still needs. I think he took. I said this last week. I think it's taken him a while to get used to NFL route running.
For him,
He's got all the talent in the world in terms of his ability to catch, and he uses his body. He's always used his body real well. So I think Cam Sims is the find that I hoped he was all the way back as a rookie. He's just kind of growing into it. That's one thing.
Where he really impresses me?
Where's that?
He might be our best non-lineman run blocker at this point on this offense.
Well, you know why that is? I know why that is.
Because he played at Alabama, and that's all they had him do.
Well, yeah, and his quarterback was Jalen Hurts, who was known back then. Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma was
Alabama,
was not a good quarterback.
No.
He was barely a quarterback. He improved a lot at Oklahoma. But I watched a lot of Cam Sims film, and Jalen Hurts would just take off at a moment's notice.
Yeah,
he was
a
Johnny Manziel
run guy, right?
He was Johnny Manziel without a drug problem.
Right.
And so Cam Sims' job was to watch out for that and basically run a series of crackback blocks.
Yeah.
That's what he did. So he's used to that.
Yeah, and I mean, when you see Gibson get like a really good run to the outside, if you go back and look, you almost always see Sims making one or two little blocks here and there that help him get another 5 yards or whatever it is out of it.
Now, in terms of Alex Smith, this looked more like a typical Alex Smith game than did last week.
Yeah.
And obviously it was because it was a close game in the first half, and then they were ahead in the second half, and so we didn't have to have him pass 55 yards. But, he didn't go deep much.
No.
He went deep 2 or 3 times, and that was it.
Well, he went deep 3 times. One was a miss. One was that great catch by McLaurin where, again, tight coverage, and he just kind of went up and snagged. And then the third one was the right ball, where it was a pass interference in the end.
Right.
So, it paid off the times he went downfield.
Yeah. But I think if you can, and granted this is the Bengals, but if you can kind of keep Alex Smith in this lane, because this is his lane, and produce on the ground like this, and that's not going to happen against better teams, but this is sort of how you win.
Yeah.
Now, again, whether they can do this against the Steelers is another matter, probably not. Or the 49ers, even though the 49ers have got huge injury problems, but you get my point.
They packed it in this season.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you get my point. Is this may not work against better teams, but this is probably the formula for success for the Washington Redskins or the whatever Washington.
Yeah.
And because I don't think you can make a living on Alex Smith trying to be Andrew Luck.
No,
and passing 50 passes a game every single week.
I don't want to make that living. I want to see him game manage because he's always been a good game managed guy. I want to see some sound, solid run plays like we did today, and then, you take your occasional deep shots. I would like to see more deep shots. I would like to see a lot less of what he was doing in the end of the second quarter, which made no sense when they were, I guess, trying to run a hurry up, but they weren't hurrying up, and it was all a bunch of dink and dunks in the middle of the field, which is what you don't do when you don't have timeouts and you're trying to get a field goal. But that's as much, I feel like, on Scott Turner as it is on Alex
Yeah, that
Smith.
was a play calling thing more than anything. I didn't blame him for the interception. I mean, it was a decent pass. It got batted at the line of scrimmage. What can you do?
Well, it wasn't. It was and it wasn't. you shouldn't be calling passes to the middle of the field short of field goal range with 30 seconds left like that. You should be trying to get to the sidelines. You shouldn't be dumping it off.
Yeah, but that's not his problem.
No.
If the primary read is the primary read,
yeah.
My point is I don't blame him for the interception.
No, I never blame a quarterback if the ball's tipped. That's a bad luck.
Especially that one. It went way up in the air, and what can you do? Okay, that's all I want to say about the offense.
Okay.
I didn't think we really covered it quite as much as we should have.
Yeah. And we just need to fix the O-line. I'll always just end with
that's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
this year.
We just need to do it.
We had somebody named David Sharp starting at right tackle today.
Oh yeah, that by the way, that penalty he took was kind of BS in my opinion. The chop block or whatever it was that they called him on.
It was barely a chop block. It was him flailing at somebody's ankle.
He fell on the ground and kind of tapped a guy's leg.
Yeah, he kind of flailed at an ankle. I mean, I
also,
thought that was
also the face mask penalty on Daron Payne was BS. I'll put that out there too.
I don't know how it was even. How could that get called a face mask?
Yeah, the guy's helmet fell off in Daron Payne's armpit, so it's a face mask. Maybe you could call him for trying to give the quarterback a noogie or something. I don't know.
Morgan Moses in his first start at left tackle didn't look half bad.
No, he's played really well all year.
Yeah, he has.
He's been solid. All right, let's do game balls.
Okay.
I want to go first, and I'm going to say that Chase Young gets my defensive game ball. I know we kind of you were disappointed he didn't get a sack, but he had, in my mind, at least two really big pivotal plays here, and so he would get my defensive side. And then on offense is a little tighter. I guess I'll go Gibson. He was running if he can start doing that game in, game out, running like he did today, his future is very bright. So I'm going to go Gibson.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to go Gibson on offense as well. Again, I don't know if this, I don't know if it's sustainable against better teams, but having the run style, this sort of running play calls really worked, and hopefully they can keep doing it. But 94 yards rushing, 5.9 yards per attempt. Antonio Gibson deserves a game ball from me. And on defense, I'm going Ronald Darby because I saw him repeatedly make big plays.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Repeatedly.
I could have gone with him too.
I just didn't think, Chase blew it, on the big Joe Burrow touchdown run or run to the 1 yard line or whatever it was.
Right.
That was on Chase. So I just can't give Chase a game ball today. But Ronald Darby, yes. So Gibson and Darby.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to disagree. On Gibson's running style, whatever he picked up from Adrian Peterson, he clearly picked every little note AP gave him. Have you noticed his running style, how he moves his legs and keeps trying to twist and turn for extra yards? It's very Peterson-like.
Well, and that's what offensive coaches do or tell you to do. Having tried to do this and being really, really bad at it, which is why I was never running back. But what running back coaches will tell you to do is never stop churning your legs.
Right.
Move your legs. You'll hear them screaming all the time. Move your legs. Move your legs. Move your legs. And yeah, I think Gibson learned that. Well, he's got a different style than Peterson. Peterson's mostly an inside runner, and that's not really Gibson. But yeah, I mean, from that regard, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that he must have sat there and taken notes from him or something, because I don't think he came from Randy Jordan, because I've never thought he was a very good running back coach.
I mean, if you have a Hall of Famer in your room, for God's sakes, take advantage of it.
Listen to that guy.
Yeah, listen to AP.
He
not about child rearing, but about football, yes.
If AP was wearing a gold jacket out on the field right now, no one would even be mad about it.
No, that's true.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's a win this week. We got a short week coming up with Dallas. Oh, Steve's raising his hand.
Well, schedule, yeah, we need to tell everybody.
Oh, yeah, we should let you know, because it's a short week, this show that you're listening to probably came out Monday morning. I'm going to say that in past tense, even though it's in future tense for us. Our next show we are recording on Tuesday. Is that right, Steve? We're recording Tuesday, so it'll be up Wednesday morning as the Dallas pregame show. And we're probably not going to do the pregame or the postgame show on Thanksgiving because you're not going to listen to it. We'll do that sometime Friday to plan to get it posted by Saturday.
Because to be perfectly honest, we're sick and tired of recording on Thanksgiving Day year after year after
no.
year.
I'm going to be at my mom's house. I know, Steve, you're probably not doing anything big for Thanksgiving, but
How do you know that?
because you don't live close to your family.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Yeah, but we're just tired of, frankly, we've done it every year, and we're just sick of it, and we're not doing it this year. So
I don't think you've
it'll
ever
come
done
out a day
anything for
late. Sue
Thanksgiving,
us.
frankly. I remember one year you had to complain because you had to make dinner the first time, but that was about it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I'm not a cook.
No. All right, guys. We will see you though on Wednesday. So, and there'll be like 8 podcasts in between now and then from other
Yeah.
shows.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. So Seasons to Discontent will be out probably Tuesday, and then It's Just Business will also be Tuesday.
Right.
And so we're condensing everything into 3 days because of Thanksgiving.
A lot of stuff for you to listen to while you're sitting at home doing
right.
nothing. All right. Later, guys. Hope you enjoyed the win. Bye.